Hello and welcome to the Ganru Mas Show. I'm Golda.
I'm Wanru.
And I'm Thomas.
And this is a podcast that's just like hanging out with your two best girlfriends.
And Thomas.
Because it's Thomas's brand to be the guy that nobody likes.
That's totally true. That's my brand.
That's his brand.
Definitely my brand. Ask anybody.
Yes, it's his brand. In today's episode, we'll be talking about unpopular opinions.
Mm-hmm. And you'll find out why Meryl Streep just can't wait to work with Thomas.
Why Golda has a long neck.
And why Wanru is all up into the pyramids.
I'm flying to Egypt tomorrow.
Yeah. So, let's get started. This is going to be a good one today, everybody. We have a very good friend of ours who's hanging with us today, Thomas Isao Did I say Isao?
Yeah.
Isao, am I Filipino coming out?
Isao.
Isao.
Better than Isao,
Okay,
which
so
I've gotten.
Thomas Isao Morinaka.
Yay!
Did I say it wrong again?
Hello. Isao.
Isao Morinaka. So a little bit about Thomas. He's going to play with us today. We're going to be talking about some really cool things. In particular, we're talking about unpopular opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Unpopular opinions. We're going to go right for the jugular. But before we dive into that, we wanted to give everybody out there who might not know who Thomas is a chance to get to know him. But just as a precursor, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Thomas. So Thomas is an actor, writer, stunt performer, and an award-winning stage combat fight choreographer. He knows how to move, huh? He's dangerous, huh? He earned a BA with honors. So he's smart.
Ooh, and
He's
what
smarty.
was your major, Thomas?
Theater.
Oh my
He's
God.
theatrical, huh? From the University of Hawaii with an emphasis in stage combat, Japanese theater, Japanese history, and Japanese classical literature.
This intro is all vowels.
It is. It really is. He has performed as an actor regionally and on stages throughout the West Coast and is an award-winning, as I mentioned, stage combat stunt choreographer. And he has a new company that he's one of the founding members, one of two founding members, called TNT Stunt Fight Choreography, a new company devoted to safely choreographing violence for stage and film. And Thomas and I have been good friends for what? How many years? At least 10, right?
More than 10.
More than that. Probably 20. Right? Something like that. And
Sure.
Thomas and I go way back, and he's probably one of my favorite people of all time. We have the best conversations, and we wanted to bring him here so that all of you can be introduced to him and truly get to know what a wonderful person he is outside of all of the theatrical award-winning fight, etc. We all know that, Thomas, but you are just an exceptional human being and a really bright, sharp mind. Wanted everyone to get to know you a little bit as Wanru and I kind of debate the topics of the day, or not so much. But one of the things we wanted to do was do a really quick kind of getting to know you quiz. So are you guys game for that?
Of course, yeah.
We've never
I'm
done
down.
this before, so bear with us, everybody.
Thomas is struggling like, I don't know what's going to happen, but
I'm down.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
he's
sir.
very
Yeah.
down.
this is our way of, we occasionally have guests, and we want folks to get to know people, our favorite people that we bring on board here. So this game is a game where I'm going to ask a question and then give you some options of an answer. And then when I count to 3, we all say whatever the answer is for ourselves.
Okay. And for those of you who are listening to the podcast or watching the YouTube, listen to the options and pick one for yourself. So when we shout it out, you at home or in your car or wherever you're listening, you can also pick out your choice.
Yeah, and
then-
we will
Sure.
hear you.
We will.
Even though this was pre-taped. As I'm walking the aisles of Ralph's.
I'm on your side.
Yeah, I will hear Liz say,
Penguin
yes.
or
exactly.
whatever. We will
We'll just-
transcend
it's-
time and space.
Yeah.
And we will acknowledge you.
It
All right.
can happen.
So play
It
at
can
home
happen.
with me, Thomas,
All right.
and Golda.
Ready to rock, guys?
Ready.
Okay. So the first question I have is, if you could choose one animal patronus, which would it be? And for those of you who don't know what a patronus is.
Yes, please explain. And Thomas is already saying cat because he told me he's gonna say cat for every answer.
So cat is not an option.
It's not an option.
It's not an option.
Cat.
So a patronus is that Harry Potter sort of vernacular where it's sort of like the animal that best sort of encompasses your spirit and who you are.
Okay.
Okay. So if you could choose an animal patronus
of these selections.
Number 1 is a whale.
Oh boy. Can we specify what kind of whale?
A humpback.
Oh,
a humpback whale.
Very specific.
Okay. A humpback whale. Number 2 is a llama or llama for some folks.
But not an alpaca.
No, it's got to be a llama.
Okay.
Okay. Then we have a bumblebee.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And then lastly, we have a giraffe.
Oh boy.
So the 4 choices again are humpback whale, llama, bumblebee, or giraffe. On the count of 3, go ahead and say it out loud. Which one? 1, 2, 3.
Llama.
Giraffe. Would you say
humpback whale.
He said cat.
I said cat.
He said cat.
But I'll go with the whale.
Why did you pick a humpback whale, Thomas?
Being from Hawaii, I spend a lot of time in the water.
Okay.
That's the only reason.
Okay. And don't they live like 1,000 years?
I have no idea.
We do not fact check any of this information.
We don't know any information.
What
you know what I did? You know why I didn't pick that?
Yeah, why didn't you pick that?
Whales spend a lot of time just filtering shit in their teeth.
Oh.
And that's how they eat,
Is that
right?
right?
Back me up on this.
Is it the plankton?
Yeah.
Is it plankton?
It's just open their mouth and they're like filtering
Whale
shit.
watching 4th grade. Still got it up there.
And
they eat other stuff, but yeah, there's that.
Then what they do is they take their tongue and they press all the shit out. This is very unscientific. Oh God, Monterey Bay, don't call us. But they press it out with their tongue, and whatever crap's in there, they just swallow it down. So I feel like that's an undignified way of eating. That's the only reason why.
Unpopular opinion.
Which is the whole topic today. But why do you say? Just because you're from Hawaii, so you identify with the whale?
Yeah. We can see the whales from where they're migrating, from the shore while they're migrating through the channels. I spend a lot of time in the water, so I have a special affinity towards them. And none of the other animals spend a lot of time in the water, But as far as the eating thing goes, I can relate to that because I particularly don't like the process of eating. I think it's
so different.
I think it's kind of gross.
Oh, really? I like it.
I like
eating.
tasting. I like flavors, but I like the process of consuming something, that mashing of food in your mouth, all into like a blobby thing, and like swallowing it, and like it gets all in the stomach, and there's this acid thing. No, the process is just gross.
Yeah, the masticulation is not particularly appealing.
Yes, thank you. That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's very ironic because then I picked the llama.
Why did you pick a llama?
I don't know. I got it confused
They're
with the
cute,
alpaca.
aren't they?
I think llamas are the disgusting ones that spit, and alpacas are the cute ones with the long eyelashes.
Okay.
So, but anyways, llamas, they eat their food, they swallow it, and then they might even regurgitate it and chew it again. So talk about disgusting eating habits. But I picked it because it looked gentle and innocuous. And then, I don't know why I want this to be my patronus, but it just seemed gentle.
And you can save the drama for your llama.
And okay,
yeah, that's true. That's
all
true.
right.
Yeah. What about yourself?
I picked the giraffe. Giraffe is a very majestic animal, such as myself. I also do enjoy a long neck. I used to really love what are those things? Turtlenecks. I used to be like the turtleneck wearer for a time. I had a turtleneck period.
You did? A turtleneck phase?
I did have a turtleneck phase. Again, the big eyes, the flappy lashes. They soar above trees. They can hang out with the trees. They can kind of like get really up in there. I like that aspect. A little bit of trivia for you guys. Did you know that the gestational period of a giraffe is, what when I ask you, what do you think the gestational period, like how long does it take for a giraffe baby to pop out?
I'll let our guest go first.
What do you think, Thomas?
Hey, man, I don't know.
So if humans are 9 months.
Yeah, but don't humans have one of the longest?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with 3 months.
3 months. Okay. What about you?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go the opposite way. 1.5 years.
Ooh, you are very, very close, scientist.
Me?
Yeah, it's actually 400 to 460 days
Oh, God.
for a giraffe to be born out of the giraffe hoo-ha.
So it's 1 year, 1 year and 100 days. About.
Yeah. And did you know that here is how badass a female giraffe is? Do you know they give birth standing up, usually next to a tree? There's no lying down for giraffes and giving birth, right?
I was gonna say it's quite a fall from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen the baby giraffe. They go
Yeah.
plop on the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Mhm.
apparently the reason why the gestational period is so long is the baby needs to be strong enough to be able to withstand the fall.
Oh
Hey,
my God.
a little bit of giraffe trivia there. And the only reason why I know this is I recently went to a baby shower and that was one of the games.
Giraffe
Gestational periods.
Oh, just
Yeah. So that's, I mean, I don't know. I don't keep this at the top of my head or anything.
Wait, I'm sorry. There was a whole game centered around giraffe gestational period.
No, animals and
Oh, okay.
gestational periods. So like dogs and cats, they take like 60 days or something. Anyway,
Word.
like rats are like 4 days. I don't know. Something really, really small. Nobody picked Bumblebee.
no.
Why didn't anybody want to be a
Because
bumblebee?
everyone's afraid of bumblebees. I don't want to be the one that comes in a room and everyone runs screaming away from me.
Oh,
Have you ever seen people I've seen people at my cafeteria at work, probably like 40 feet away. You don't know what the hell's happening except they're screaming and panic and flapping of the hands, and you're like, bee,
Oh,
right? And it causes such a
Man.
commotion.
People just don't know how to. People don't know how to handle bees.
I agree.
What do you do with bees?
Bees
I would totally get like stuck right now because apparently, if you guys aren't watching the YouTube, I'm wearing this very bright pink blouse here. They're attracted to bright colors.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And if you
very
have
lovely.
a floral pattern on your bright,
Oh.
forget it. They'll think you're a flower, and then they'll sting you.
If you wear like a sunflower pattern shirt.
Yeah,
It's over.
Yeah, just go away. Yeah.
Okay, Thomas, what are you supposed to do when a bumblebee or any bee approaches you?
I just let it do its thing. I mean, if it lands on me, I just let it chill there. Because if I don't like provoke it, it won't sting me. But on the other hand, I'm not allergic to bee stings.
Mhm.
You know,
See, says the man who
Yeah.
is not allergic to bee stings. And what?
What do you do when a bee comes near you?
I
Wonder.
try to be zen like Thomas, but one time a wasp landed on my hand, and
Oh,
I
no.
said, "You know what? It's just not gonna do anything." And I watched the little shit pick his butt up with his stinger, and I was
Oh.
like, "You know what? Don't antagonize him. He's just stretching." And I watched him insert
Oh,
his stinger right into my
shoot.
arm, and I was like,
No.
"You!" Very calm, physically calm.
Wow.
You little beep, beep, beep. And
Wow.
he just took his time, stung me, flew away.
yeah, but that's a wasp though. It's not a bee,
Way to bring the topic back.
Wait, is that bad?
Bring the topic back.
huh? No, I mean wasps and other animals like that are other insects like that or other types of. I can't. What are they like?
I think they're insects.
Yeah.
Insects.
we can say
Okay.
insects.
Well, wasps.
Yeah.
I mean, they're engineered to do that. That's
Yeah,
why when
that's
they
their
sting
nature.
you, they don't die. They can keep stinging you and they won't die. Like bees, usually
die
when they
though,
sting
right?
you, they die
Yeah.
because that's not their main thing.
So next time, kill the
Mm.
wasp if it gets anywhere.
I mean, to me, a bee is just like this dude who's like trying to get this pollen from this flower and take it back to the hive. And he's just chilling and maybe he might land on you somewhere in between
Mm.
and be like, oh, I got to take a rest. You know, but wasps are like, I'm going to go out there and find some motherfucker to sting.
Case in point, me. Exactly.
You know, they're like aggressive, you know?
Yeah.
They're very territorial.
But it's so funny how we fixated on these weird characteristics of the.
Yeah.
You picked a giraffe because they're elegant and long necked.
And they can be with trees. And you know, one of my bucket lists, right,
Oh.
is to be to visit the oldest tree in the world.
True.
So,
And I didn't pick Bumblebee because I just didn't want to scare people and have them run away from me. And you picked Well because of the
Because it's not
country
a
of
cat.
Orange.
I mean, I couldn't pick cat.
Because
So-
you couldn't pick cat.
you wanted to be a cat. So why do you
Yeah.
personify yourself as a cat, or why do you?
I mean,
why
I
would
feel like I'm very
How
closely
so?
in behavior to a cat. I mean, I'm very close in behavior to a cat in the sense that, well, I mean, you know, it's sort of a solitary thing.
Yeah.
It lets you know when it
Introvert.
wants things.
Mhm.
You know, like if it needs something, it will tell you. Otherwise, just leave it alone. It's cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's aggressive.
Yeah.
It's always in training to kill things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but most of the time, if you know how to interact with it, then I mean, it's cool with you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, cats also show up and you didn't know that they were there. It's like one minute you're looking straight ahead, and then like 2 seconds later they're right next to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's how stealth they are. That's how Thomas is.
Thomas is stealthy like
when
that.
He arrived here today, we were just eating lunch. Next thing you know, he's like sitting on the couch. We had no idea.
We had no idea.
No idea.
Another thing about Thomas is he'll show you his belly, and you'll start rubbing it, and then all of a sudden he'll just bite you out of the blue. That happens too.
You only get 2 rubs.
Very particular. Okay, so
right.
I have a second question to kind of get the getting to know our guest portion. If you could be an expert in any artistic discipline other than your own, which expertise would you choose? Again, if you could be an expert in any artistic discipline other than your own, which expertise would you choose? So here are the selections.
And Thomas, cat is not an option for artistic discipline.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we have the first is a beat producer.
Wait, what?
A beat producer. So this is a person who creates beats for music.
Like tracks, beats, like music tracks. Okay,
Yeah.
but just the beats.
Yeah, just the beats.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
all right. Mhm.
The second is a painter. A painter.
Just a painter.
Just a painter.
Mhm.
Hey. The next is a Tai Chi expert.
Oh.
Tai Chi expert. And then the last is a Feng Shui master.
Oh, these are so good. These are so good.
Okay, so on the count of 3, we'll pick one of these. Again, the first is beat producer, then painter, Tai Chi expert, Feng Shui master. Ready?
Okay.
And the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Painter.
Feng Shui master. What'd you pick?
I said painter.
You said painter?
Painter!
Tell us more. Why did you pick painter?
I'm not peaceful enough for the last 2.
Oh, you're not peaceful
Tai
enough.
Chi master and a feng shui person. I mean, you have to have this sense of peace or how to achieve peace. And I live in rage, so and I'm comfortable there. Like I don't feel like I need to find peace.
Yeah.
I use rage to be productive.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, like, as a painter, you could channel all of this like anger or whatever into like painting, and like do stuff.
It's very effective,
Yeah.
actually. Mm-hmm.
And which painter do you admire the most? would say?
I growing up, I wasn't taught about art,
Yeah.
so I don't know anything about it.
I can venture a guess that I think somebody that you would really love, Van Gogh. He
I've
had some rage.
seen some of his stuff.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had some rage, man, and his paintings still really kind of jump at you.
I don't know. I'd have to.
Yeah.
I'd have to go with somebody who
Yeah.
knows what they're talking about and
Just
like
check it out.
chat about it, because
Yeah.
painting visual stuff is not something that's in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, but this is again, if you could be an
Magically,
expert.
you have this
Yeah.
talent now.
Right.
If someone said the only wish I can grant you, like a genie,
Right, and
a
that's
really
that's why I
lame
picked it.
genie, yeah.
That's why I
like a
picked
very
it.
limited genie.
yeah.
They can't give you money. They can't give you a house.
Like
they
Will
can't
Smith's genie, not Robin Williams' genie.
Exactly. Ooh, unpopular opinion.
Oh,
perhaps.
yes. Perfect segue. Yeah.
I did not see Aladdin.
Yes. So you would pick painter. What about you, Wanru?
I would pick Tai Chi master. And I
Okay.
think you said Feng Shui master,
Yeah.
right?
We can have a business.
right.
A little 2-for-1.
right here. Very complimentary. But
Yeah.
I'll ask you first. Why the Feng Shui or Feng Shui or Feng Shui or whatever you call it?
Yeah. How do you say it? And I'm
don't
looking
know.
at you, Wanru. I don't know
I'm
why.
the expert. I'm gonna say
I don't know. Is that racist?
I'm gonna go- my best guess would be Feng Shui.
Is it feng shui?
Yeah.
Feng
That's how we
shui.
pronounce it in the Philippines. It's feng shui.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I never hear it outside of America called feng shui. So it's feng shui.
Feng
or
shui.
or another one is feng shui.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
have you
that's
heard feng shui?
Maybe the Cantonese version.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
feng shui is the art of being able to design buildings or everything inside of a space so that you optimize the energies in that space. So it's an old discipline. Apparently, I think it originated in China, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, public. And basically the understanding is that if you create this space that's harmonious, that it will allow itself to your life will be harmonious as well. So, I think that, there are feng shui masters all over the world. Some folks actually, I think, Thomas, you were mentioning someone who
I do.
Who does it for like buildings.
Jesse Kim.
There you go. And a bunch of other folks I'm sure out there. I would love to learn how to do that. I think it's good. I think we need more like positivity and whatever you can do to give yourself that little edge. Why not?
Why not?
What about you, Wanru? Why Tai Chi?
Just like you want to harmonize the energies and balance the flow in your house.
Yeah.
I want to do that with my own body.
Oh.
And the thing about Tai Chi people is they're very good at like moving the flow of energy around their own body and balancing the energies. But when they get really top level, they could do that for other people too, right?
Totally.
They can tell you what moves to do, or they can do hands-on stuff like Reiki type healing stuff. I think, right? So
do they do that?
I'm gonna say in my
that's a good little combination
in my world. That's what a Tai Chi master would do. Okay. And
I mean, you know that Jacqueline, Jax Calkers?
Yeah,
she does Reiki.
Oh yeah.
She would be a good person to ask about the
Mm-hmm.
unity of Tai Chi and Reiki.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, let's say you came up to me and you're like, "Oh, I slept wrong. My neck's all jacked up." I'd be like, "Come here."
Be a tree.
Be a tree.
Blowing in a tsunami.
You're gonna do that
but
Mr.
calm.
Miyagi thing where you slap your hands together and you rub it
Yes.
on.
And then dust comes magically out.
First
of
of
your
all,
hands.
you have too much fire in your neck. Eat this menthol. Eat this spearmint tea.
Here's Halls.
And
Mentholyptus.
and I will use my hands to move. I don't know what kind of accent I would have as a Tai Chi master.
That sounds about right to me.
Because
That's how I envision it in my head.
And a quasi Asian.
exactly.
They need to make a movie about a Tai Chi master.
They have.
Hey, they have? What movie is
In
that?
fact, didn't Keanu Reeves do one
no.
called Tai Chi Master or something like that? I want to check
That
my
was
phone.
John Wick. He wasn't a Tai Chi master.
No,
was he?
I'm fairly certain Keanu Reeves did one about a Tai Chi master. or
No
something like that.
kidding. Wow, I must have missed that one.
I missed that one.
At the Blockbuster.
Well, you know what? I would totally love to visit the building that had been feng shuied by Golda with beautiful paintings from Thomas.
Angry
inside.
paintings.
Angry, beautiful.
Angry yet beautiful. Beautifully angry paintings.
Right, exactly. And I would just be eating halls in the lobby.
No, you would be doing Tai Chi and all those Chinese old ladies would be doing it with you.
Yeah.
In the building.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
beautiful. Perfect.
I love
Okay.
it. All right.
right.
Well, now we got to know Thomas. We're ready to dive into our topic.
And now we're ready to dive into our main segment. It's the topic of unpopular opinions. And yep, we picked Thomas.
I don't know why I'm here.
There's a reason why.
Buckle your seatbelts, everybody.
You know what? You've known Thomas for 10 years. I've known him for a little less, but still a long time. And I would say one of your strongest characteristics, for good or bad, is that you speak your mind.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, he's very open, right? And
Absolutely.
transparent and upfront. And there's, some people
Very authentic.
Some people can't really take that. But it's also a very interesting and I think a bold personality trait to have.
Refreshing.
Well, thank you.
I'm just describing him like some kind of new chewing gum. A bold and distinctive and refreshing flavor.
I hope it doesn't have aspartame in it.
Or those really cool bras that you like over at what's that place
Uniqlo?
called?
A bold and
Uniqlo.
refreshing sensation for your breath.
For your bra.
Okay.
For your
Well,
Hey, Thomas.
I would
Hey.
definitely prefer to be a bra, but that's just me.
But that's kind of why we chose him, because he's got very unusual and interesting opinions, which he can back up. He always has a very good reasoning for him.
Yeah,
So-
who wants to live in a world where we always agree? Or we always have to like the same things.
All the people fighting on Twitter.
Right? I think that, when you meet someone who has, a different opinion, I'm myself am very interested to understand and to hear it. And in many ways, I walk away with a wider perspective. So
Mm-hmm.
I find it very invigorating. So we hope you do too.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and again, Thomas is for me one of the most authentic and truthful and most honest people out there. He's not there to shock. He's there because he believes in what he believes, and that's what we admire. At least I admire. So
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
yeah,
So today we're going to share unpopular opinions in
Yeah.
3 categories. Of the first, which is advice people always give you, but that's actually kind of dumb.
yes. And again, it's advice that you always hear people say, and you're like, oh, that sounds good in theory, but it's stupid. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
What do you think about
stupid
that?
for you, right? Like, I
Yes.
mean, it might work for somebody else, but maybe for you, it just doesn't work.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't work for everybody else.
Yeah.
All right, so give us an
dumb.
example, Thomas, of
Look, I'm
advice.
turning into Thomas.
You sure are.
Turning into
I'm
Thomas.
getting scared.
Thomas is like, hey now, you can let the lion out.
Yeah, no, you should. You should.
So
I mean,
tell us, what do you think is some advice that someone's given you? That sounds good, I guess, but you're like, meh.
I mean, something that is told to me very often is that I need to go to things and socialize
Oh.
and basically play nice.
Mm.
Which is not one of my strengths.
Okay.
I'm not so good at playing nice.
Cats.
And as
Yeah.
kind of an introvert, I tend to keep to myself.
Yeah.
Granted, I can understand the value of going out and socializing and playing nice and making connections and networking and all of that stuff is very important. But it doesn't work for me. Because to me, it's just more bullshit. And I can't.
You find it draining, or what do you dislike about it?
I mean, I do
What
find
is it
it
about it?
I do find it draining to be among a lot of people, like in a room full of people. It's very draining for me, even though I can play it off. Because, as an introvert in acting, you teach yourself to
Yeah.
adapt to these situations, right?
Sure.
But it's the bullshit.
Mm.
It's the ass kissing. It's the what is this person? Where is this person in the Hollywood pecking order, and what can they do for me? I can't play that game, dude.
Oh, so you're talking about socializing in within the entertainment industry, not so
Yes.
much like
Yes, I'm sorry.
like regular, like, oh, it's a Thanksgiving or Christmas or birthday party. Or
But even
something.
that, I mean, even
okay.
that, there's a level of bullshit. Like, you're stuck in this room with people you don't know. You're like, oh, hi, who are you? What do you do? Oh, that's so interesting. Oh, you clean up poop at the zoo. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just, there's a level of bullshit that happens in any social setting. And I just can't. I mean,
This is ironic because
Yeah.
I feel like Thomas is one of the most reliable people. Like if you have a show,
Yeah.
he like shows up to the show
And oftentimes very early
and,
and
stays-
very late.
and stays afterwards
Stays
to hang
very
out.
late.
So can you explain that behavior?
yeah, I mean, like,
when it comes to work, right? It's
yeah, I
different.
mean,
Yeah.
that's a different thing. Like if I'm being asked for a favor or whatever, or to show support for my friends,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll show up.
Absolutely.
The fact that I'm sitting in a room with 100 other people is stressful.
Yeah.
But at least if it's a show, I don't have to interact with them. You'll note that if you throw a party and invite me, I'm not likely to come.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're asking me to help you move, I'll be there, right?
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
it's just showing up, just showing up. A party, I don't feel like there's any social obligation to attend.
Yeah.
But like somebody doing a show, you want to support them, you want to support their craft, you show up to a show. Right?
Do you think, Thomas, that it's the seeming frivolity of social events that doesn't necessarily jive with you, and versus, you could also argue that work is a social endeavor as well. But there's more of a focus when you work. There's an objective, right? So, I can definitely attest. Thomas is 150% reliable. And he will go above and beyond your whatever you ask him to do. I mean, Thomas and I have worked on so many things together, and I know I don't even have to ask. Thomas is there and won't complain, and he's just all there, all in, very dedicated. So in that scenario where it's work, I feel like you're so engaged. But you're saying like a party or something like that's a traditional.
I invited Thomas to my scrapbooking party, and he declined me.
Well,
and it was a hoot. It was a hoot, Thomas. You sure you're gonna kick yourself?
I am not sure about me scrapbooking.
Well, no, but that's actually, I'm just joking here, but it's true. It seems like it's better to put your energies, especially as an introvert, into things that are supportive of other people or like are towards a goal. Like, for example, you might go to a 100% workshop to learn a new skill.
Sure.
Right? Because it's not about socializing and mingling and trying to get on top of the pecking order.
Yeah.
We're there to learn a craft, or I'm there to see a show, or I'm there to support my friend and show my face and say congratulations, right? So I think that's actually a better use of your energy. And introverts have been lifted up into the limelight recently by the author, what's her name?
Susan Cain, author of Quiet.
Exactly. And, she called the BS. It's a very unpopular opinion, but she called out the BS, saying our whole society, our schools, our workplaces are geared to reward extroverts.
Yeah.
And introverts do some of the most important work. What are you saying?
Yeah.
This extrovert.
Yeah.
Look at her taking
I have escalated on the backs of these introverts. Just kidding.
The Thomas introvert's just taking it in. And then Golda's claiming the credit. She's like, yeah.
Thomas who? I did this by myself.
By the way,
She did do it by herself.
No,
like
on the backs of introverts.
I know. You know what? We have to work together. And I'm like 55, 45 extrovert, introvert. So I feel like I'm like the bridge.
Oh, I'm totally an ambivert for sure.
Yeah. I think Golda has introverted tendencies.
Yeah.
She's not highlighting here.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
It's an unpopular opinion to not like to socialize, but some people need it for their mental health.
Got it. What about you, Wanru? What's your...
Wait, did I just hijack your
I
whole
don't know.
introvert thing?
Was there a question? What?
It was advice that
People always give.
That you're like, that's dumb.
Yeah. Does that sum it up okay?
It's dumb for me.
Yeah, it's dumb for you.
Yeah.
Sticking me in a situation that I feel uncomfortable in is not a good mix.
And it's good
I
to
love
practice self-awareness around that. You know that about yourself, right?
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
The Women's March. I went to the Women's March.
Yeah,
It was
we did
too
too.
fucking crazy for me.
Yeah,
I was trying to find my people. If I was with my people, I would have been okay.
yeah.
But because everybody was, there was a million some odd people there.
Yeah.
Like I
There
couldn't
was,
find anybody. And it was too much. I was
chaotic.
starting to get angry, and then and then that can become a thing. So I just
Don't get
left.
angry at the Women's March.
I mean,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But just the sheer number of people there and the energies that were there, and then people you don't know, right?
I mean, there was that, but I was also getting looks. I'm a single straight male
Oh, interesting.
by myself
Uh-huh.
at the Women's March.
Yeah.
And I just look like I don't belong.
Aw.
So there was this sort of ostracization going on.
Interesting.
But I've had
Interesting.
that happen to me a lot when I volunteer. So
Yeah.
it's not new.
Yeah.
But it was like, well, time to go home.
That's interesting because I think that there's definitely, like, for all of us, right? There are perceptions of how we come across, but the more that you get to know each individual, the more that you discover their treasures.
Exactly.
And I don't mean that as a euphemism.
Share your treasure.
Yes, all of their gifts. All of their
Exactly.
gifts. All right, Wanru, I want to hear yours.
Okay.
What a piece of advice.
You might have heard it put in different ways, but the advice I've always heard is like you have to be honest or truthful. Bullshit. Yeah, exactly.
That's all I ever do.
That's all this guy ever does. Just pure honesty. But let me ask you, it grates people the wrong way sometimes, right?
What does?
Absolutely.
All the time.
When you are honest.
Yeah.
I see.
So what I do is to conserve my energy. I have what I call the bullseye of honesty.
Oh,
Now, I don't think I've ever heard this before anyplace else.
okay.
So I hope I'm patenting this right now.
Yeah.
Ganru, don't you TM? Okay. Don't you dare, because
Yep.
we're gonna stick Thomas on you.
Yep.
But
Oh.
so I would say I practice the bullseye of truth. So imagine a bullseye with like a small target and then concentric circles around and around,
Yeah.
of which you are in the middle. So in the middle, you must practice pure, unfiltered honesty with yourself.
Okay.
So digging deep. Like if you feel something uncomfortable or you're unhappy about something, go, why am I unhappy? Really? Is that really the reason, girl? Are you just fooling yourself? Are you just saying that because you're really covering up this other thing? Like with yourself, you need to have that dialogue so you can deeper and deeper,
Okay.
even to get to the ugly truth. The next ring out on the bullseye, I would say, is probably dear close friends or your intimate partner or somebody, obviously, that you're sharing your life with.
Okay.
You can be truthful, but sometimes it's good to hold back just a little bit, right?
Mm.
You can't have that level of Thomas is just having a little. So I mean, sometimes there is no positive thing to be gained from saying, yes, you do have a lot of cellulite on the back of your legs and it's lumpy.
Or yes, I did throw away that chair that you love. It was me.
I mean, you can be honest and still be tactful.
Okay, so let's say let's say we're dating, okay, Thomas? And I go, look at the back of my leg, Thomas. I think I have a lot of cellulite and it's lumpy, which I don't, by the way, because my legs are perfectly smooth.
She does this like caffeine scrub.
Yeah, pure caffeine, Costa Rican caffeine.
It
scrub.
looks lovely.
But anyway.
What would you think? What would you say? He's lying right now.
Well,
He says
I
it
mean,
looks-
no, I mean, in real life, it looks lovely. But as far as this
at my
hypothetical
legs.
question goes,
Look at my legs, Thomas.
I can't see it. It's under the table. As far as this hypothetical, like mythical question
mythical
goes,
question.
I would assume that you asking me, you would know that I would give an honest answer.
Because I would know you as a person, right? Yeah.
Especially if we're dating.
Okay, so then how would you coach
What
that
would you
really
say?
harsh answer? Because let's say my cellulite looks really bad, but it doesn't. But let's just say hypothetically instead.
Hypothetically.
What would be the? How would you phrase it?
Well, okay, first I would be like, this is a trap. So the first thing I would
Right.
say is, why are you asking me this
Yeah.
question?
Okay.
I'm concerned. I'm concerned. It's very visible.
Your
And-
concern is very visible. So you want me to tell you yes or no that it's visible? So what? You can cover it or what?
I want to know.
You want to put on some
how-
pants?
I obviously look at my body every day, but I want to see if someone else would notice it if I were just to walk by. So I'm going to walk by and you tell me how bad my cellulite is.
Okay, if that's what you want, but I'm going to be honest.
We're breaking up right now.
No, I want to hear what you would say.
Yeah,
Keep
what
going,
would you say?
keep
Would you say?
going,
Okay,
keep
fine.
going.
I'm walking by. Look at my legs. How's my cellulite, Thomas? Oh, God. That's it. Just by that face, it's over. It's over. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, you want the truth.
Okay,
and
go ahead.
I'm like,
Just tell me the truth. I want the truth.
I mean, maybe there's some.
Oh my God, Golda!
Yes.
Did you hear that?
I did. I did. I would get the text from Wanru immediately afterwards as she's crying in the bathroom.
He said, I have some.
But you got to think about who you're dealing with, though.
A little is way less than some. He could have said a little. Instead, he said some. Some is like a medium.
Some is more than a little.
Some is more than a little.
But I could have just said yeah.
Oh my
Right?
God.
Now we're negotiating.
Yeah.
That would be a saucepan right to the head. We just grab a saucepan,
I
cast
mean-
iron skillet.
I'm not so good with tact, but I'm definitely good with truth.
Well-
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely. And so what you were saying is there are these,
These
targets,
rings, these
right?
rings, right?
Right.
Okay.
So, right. I mean, honestly, if I was in Thomas's
Exhibit A.
actually, you know what Thomas did do?
Maybe.
He did actually do my technique because
Mhm.
he could have said, yeah, there's a lot. But he said there's some. And for him, that's that's holding it back a little bit.
Yeah, he was actually practicing tact. If you know Thomas.
I mean, the Thomas scale, you have to
Actually, if he wasn't tactful or if he didn't care about you, I think Thomas maybe would have said, yeah, you want to go to the gym with me? You should really do those leg lifts. I can do them together with you.
Oh,
I mean,
my
he
God.
would be a team player about it. That's the difference.
I did almost say, let's go to the gym.
See?
You did.
See?
You did almost say that. See?
Yeah.
Okay. And with every concentric ring outward, like if there's someone I hardly know and they say something really stupid, you know, like, I don't know. Like, oh, well, you know, Earth's flat anyways. It's like, oh, God. I don't waste any energy on them. Because Thomas has so much energy that he needs to expel outwards.
Yeah.
But I actually have the mindset that I only have a limited amount of energy to engage with people. So I want to engage with people that stimulate me or that I feel like is a very uplifting or beneficial relationship. I don't want to engage with a random hoo-ha about flat earth stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't. You see, Thomas and I have the exact opposite. Like if you did a Venn diagram, there'd be like no overlapping right now.
Yeah, they would be on different.
I mean, they really believe it though. Like in their opinion, I mean, in their mind, it's not an opinion. In their mind,
It's
the
true.
earth
It's
is
true.
flat. That is a
It's their
fact.
truth.
But okay, let's say
Right?
this is
Like-
great. This is great. This is why we did this episode because I really want to see. Let's say you have a differing opinion. How would you resolve this? So let me ask you. So let's say you're at a cocktail party, which you hate, and someone's talking about flat Earth, and you know they're wrong. How long would you talk to them, and how would you engage them? I mean, would you spend hours? Because I would just walk right by. I'd be like, "Where are the cheeses?"
You know, back in the day, I would probably walk over to the cheeses and have some of that because cheeses are great. But back in the day, I would not give them any time. But nowadays, as I'm getting older, I'm practicing listening and trying to understand someone else's point of view. And even though believing the earth is flat is completely stupid, I still want to know why they feel that way.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, he's a bigger man than I. Yeah.
I'm just really curious. Plus, I feel like it helps me to grow, to try and understand why people who I don't agree with think certain things. I found myself like, this is why I quit Facebook, because like every post I was getting pissed off. So I quit Facebook. And now on Twitter, every post I'm getting pissed off. And I'm like, God, like people gotta calm down.
Yeah.
You know, like we're just getting set off by every little thing. And we're arguing with each other and we believe 99% of the same things. It's that 1%. We're like, right?
It's the 1% of the round Earth versus the flat Earth. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
It's that one thing that we get set off at. And like I'm trying to practice understanding them more so that we can find a more middle ground than like immediately going off the handle at like that one thing.
Actually, that's a very moderate view to have, isn't it? Like listening. So you listen to them.
Lately, I have been, yes.
That's
I
good.
see. That's good. That's good.
Shows a lot of growth
Yeah, that's good.
and understanding.
See, I don't engage them because they're on my outer ring of the bullseye.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say it was my brother or a family member who believed in the flat Earth. I'd be like, we got to have a talk. Okay, let me. I'm gonna take you to the pyramids and show you this diagram that the Egyptians drew about how to calculate pi, which is a circle. Anyways, I would probably go back into millennia of data.
Wow,
but-
you have a very sophisticated evidentiary exhibits.
Fact-based.
Mine would be like a cartoon of when Bugs Bunny went on the rocket
That's
ship.
good.
Yeah, mine wouldn't be as sophisticated.
Or Wile E.
I'm
Coyote.
very impressed with your exhibits.
This is in my mind of my highest self. Like, this is in my mind.
Pyramids? I didn't even think about the pyramids. I'm like, aren't the pyramids triangles?
Okay, that's way too deep. This makes
Sense, Wanru.
That's okay. I don't understand what pi has to do with the world being round either.
Okay, all right.
But-
You know what? I think
Hi again.
I think I should not have used such a weird example. And
No, I think because you're so smart.
no.
Like, I'm not that smart.
I'm pretty sure I'm butchering it. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering things, but I'm just saying the Egyptians knew things about the universe, like how to construct pyramids. They even knew the number pie. You know what?
I don't understand.
Someone's gonna fact check me.
Hey, I'm not in STEM. I don't know. Whatever
I think
you
whatever
Anyway,
Wanru says
my point is
probably true because she's smart. The smart
No,
one.
no. I'm totally wrong. I'm gonna get like all these. Just talk about bullseye of honesty. I'm gonna get a lot of bullseyes on me. But anyways, so that is
Okay.
mine, which is don't waste time on people who you don't know.
Yeah.
But
So-
always practice. Well, what about this? Can we agree on this? You should practice brutal honesty with yourself at the center.
Absolutely. And I was going to ask you a question about that. My question is, what if you don't? Because more people than not don't.
Practice
You know what I mean?
brutal
Practice
honesty.
brutal honesty with themselves. Like,
That's true.
I feel like most people don't even know why they do the things that they do.
Yes,
and they
yes,
make up
yes.
all kinds of bullshit in their head.
Yes.
Right? So
Uh-huh.
if they don't practice brutal honesty with themselves, does that affect the rest of your relationship target?
Absolutely. That's why I say you have to start at the core, because then that's how you will live authentically, if you want to use that word, and at least be more at peace with your own actions. Like whatever action you're taking, you like, at least I know I'm doing this. I'm drinking because I don't feel good today and I want to drink this. But you make that active choice, whereas drinking unconsciously. Am I just promoting alcoholism here? But you know what I mean, right? Like if you are in control of that habit or practice awareness around that habit, that's how you gain mastery.
Got
As
it.
the Tai Chi master would say.
Wow.
Okay, all right.
That's awesome.
That was a random tangent. Okay,
Man.
well, let's get to you, Golda. What is-
Really?
what is
I don't know.
Why not? Why not? Why you?
Why isn't as interesting?
You only say that because you do not feel you are worthy.
Yeah, I'm like concentric circles.
No.
Really
I
good.
said some shit that sounds cool. All right, you're okay.
It proves the earth is round.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
There you go.
All right. Well, mine is advice. Have you ever heard of this advice, like to put 100% of yourself in everything that you do, or that that one saying, like a job worth doing is a job worth doing well? Have you heard that?
I have.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's bullshit. Because you only have a certain amount of energy, mental, physical, everything to be and exist in life, right? And so if your life is a series of decisions that you make, how can you put 100% into everything that you do? You just can't. And that's why I believe, alternatively, a better quote is work smarter, not harder. I really believe that. And I feel like I'm always looking for the smart way to do things, not necessarily the hardest way to do things. I really, really believe this. I actually have lived my life this way. Maybe that's why I'm such a hustler. But self-proclaimed. But, I think that there are smarter ways to do things. And maybe because I also see perspective from, just corporate, the corporate side of things and how things get done. Typically, a lot of hard work, but not necessarily as much as you would think would need to get done for you to move the needle. So that would be my unpopular opinion, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that believe that a job worth doing is a job worth doing well. I know that's my mom, for instance, very much like that. Like, if you're going to do this, do it well. Everything, do it well. What do you guys think?
What do you think,
agree with
Thomas?
that?
Can I set that? Can I stack one unpopular opinion on top of that?
Sure. Let's
That
do
I
it.
feel like it ties into that.
Yeah.
You know how people always say, "Don't sweat the small stuff."
Yeah.
I think that's complete bullshit.
Tell me
Because
more.
if you sweat the small stuff, then you won't have to worry about the big stuff. Because the small stuff builds the big stuff.
Interesting.
It's like if you overlook the small stuff, that's when big stuff happen. But if you sweat all the small stuff, then the big stuff should just fall into place.
Interesting. So my counter to that would be the person in me that works smarter, not harder, would say, maybe some of that small stuff we don't need to do. But so I'm the person that buys the IKEA cabinet, and there's like a bag of screws still
Extra
around.
accessories.
I'm like, it's fine.
But that's
It's probably not the best way, so maybe in certain situations.
the IKEA metaphor is good because I'm the kind of person who counts screws.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Look
Right?
at this.
No,
Polar opposite.
That's why me and
Yeah.
Thomas
Screw
get
counter.
along so well because we cover each other's bases.
Absolutely. So you got someone here with loose screws.
I got a lot of loose screws.
And somebody here-
Yeah,
Who
I didn't even know
screwed
I
too
went to IKEA.
She got loose screws. My screws are too tight.
Too tight.
Yeah,
This
and he
is-
knows where the screws were made. He knows what the elements are.
But I'm saying you got all your
Yeah.
parts and you checked. You don't have to worry about putting it together because it goes together perfectly.
Yeah.
I would say if I had to sit in a chair constructed by Golda, like a Poang chair, like, oh, this Poang chair, two identical ones. This one's constructed by Golda and one constructed by Thomas.
Yeah.
I would lean back comfortably in the one Thomas made.
Yeah, I would say I would look at the chair and I'd be like, that is a great decision to even purchase that chair.
Exactly.
But don't sit on it.
But if someone said, oh shit, someone's coming over, we don't have enough chairs, put these chairs together, I think I might go with Golda.
See?
Because if I said I only have 4 hours because the Obamas are coming over, I don't know
Yeah.
why, and I have to buy these IKEA chairs and
Yeah.
they have to sit in them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's
Because
okay.
I think-
Thomas would be counting screws.
Yeah. I think you've got a place for everything here.
I mean, the thing about that scenario is if you count out screws for one chair, then you're pretty much good for all of them.
How would you
Right?
feel about that,
'Cause
Golda?
you put one chair together, you know exactly how all the other ones go together.
Or you could just eyeball the chair and kind of shake it. And
then,
if it's good, it's
then
good
Obama
enough.
will fall down.
Then I'll catch him and I'll be a hero. See what I'm saying? Always thinking. Right?
I would say this. Overall, now I'm going to use and throw another metaphor on top of this.
Yeah.
I believe in, oh God, what is it? Perfect is the enemy of the good or something?
Oh,
you heard that before?
Yeah. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Yeah, which is you should always
Yeah.
strive for perfect, always strive for good,
Yeah.
right? Don't do things half-assed, which is I think what your mom is trying to say, which is
Yeah.
anything worth doing is worth doing well, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah.
But sometimes there becomes a point of diminishing returns so
Yeah.
that if you get too perfectionistic, then you'll never start. Like, let's say you
Or
want to.
stop.
What do you
No,
mean?
I see what you said.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. So, like, for example, in preparation for this podcast today, we cleaned. I fixated on that lamp right over there. You guys can't see it, but I fixated on that
our
lamp
home.
and I dusted it like you cannot believe. And then Gertie said, "What are you doing?" I said, I don't know why it's so sticky. Then we got into this long analysis of why dust is sticky. And then she busts out her distilled water in a spray bottle along with some special microfiber fabric. And we must have spent like half an hour, if that, just looking at this lamp. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Yes,
Yeah.
I see.
So that's my example. Anyway,
But then, I mean,
There you go.
there is beauty in wabi-sabi, right?
what is wabi-sabi?
It's that Japanese term about imperfection.
Yes. Is this the gold chip in the jar? Do you know what I'm talking about?
It could be. I don't know any stories about it.
Okay. So I read on BuzzFeed, very reputable, that there is a Japanese art.
I also got my pyramid flat earth theory from BuzzFeed, so maybe
Okay.
that's not
think
and
good.
the
it's wabi-sabi.
giraffe
Am I wrong?
gestational period.
No, I
But
think it's
was he
wabi-sabi. It's
Also,
wabi-sabi.
okay.
right?
Okay.
So
go
this example is about in certain Japanese communities, they value the imperfections of broken jars or broken glass. And what they do, because they appreciate the imperfections so much and the cracks in things, is they put 14 karat gold to bind the cracks.
Mm.
So to them, there is beauty in the imperfection. There is beauty that it was even broken in the first place. Do not ignore those cracks. It's in those cracks that you find beauty.
Right.
So that's what I was reminded of when you said that, Thomas. So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if
There's
that's-
beauty in imperfection.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the term is wabi-sabi.
Okay.
Definitely Japanese.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
And I have to remind myself of that from time to time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whereas I wallow in the imperfections 24/7.
You know what? I just want to say,
Yeah.
we have so much to talk about. But I just
Yeah.
want to say at Whole Foods, I don't know if they still do this, but every department is managed by two people. One who's detail oriented and one who's big picture oriented. And they
Oh,
usually
really?
they usually have other complementary skills. And these people work as a team to manage the department. They said it's the best system they've ever found because, you know, like Golda would find so many things to like
Yeah.
drive the department forward. And you're like, wait, oat milk's not lined up.
Mhm.
Oat milk's got to be on shelf 2 because it needs like the cold blast of air. And you'd be like, who cares about the cold blast of air? I don't even know anything about groceries. But my point is,
That's interesting.
between the two of you, your complementary skills would drive you forward. So
Yeah. So Thomas, these apples at the front door look pretty good. I think we can get a bunch of these like total like organic like farm to table hoo-ha's in here.
Okay. So
And see.
bring them in. I mean,
Right?
I would want to put the nicer ones on the top.
I think we should put the limes next to the apples because the limes and the apples make it look green and red, which makes people think of Christmas. Don't you think?
Well, what color are the apples? Are they like
They're
red?
red,
apples
red
or-
delicious,
Red delicious.
but without the wax.
I mean, can you put the Fuji apples in between them so that you have sort of a color? What do you call it?
Color wheel,
Yeah, sure.
a little bit of a color wheel. I guess we can.
Like a
Okay.
transitory.
wow.
Can you do it? Because I don't have the patience.
Excuse me, we're bosses. We get the underlings to do this shit.
Good idea. Thanks for reminding me. You
Call the
see,
bag boy.
This is
cohesion.
if you could
Cohesion.
go to a Whole Foods management
yeah.
and dictate. This would be like a dictation.
This is like a dramatization
It's like a
of what happened.
verbatim. This is what is happening now.
Yeah.
You could not be more
I
factual.
buy it.
Okay.
Well,
I
if you
buy
want
it.
to put the apples in the front, I don't see why there's a problem. That's why I'm just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All
Cool.
right. So
All
that
right.
was our wrapping up our segment,
Yes.
which is all about people advice have given you that you thought was dumb.
Okay.
All right. What's our next
The
area
next
of
area
unpopular opinions?
is something that I kind of want to hear you two talk about a little bit. I will refrain from this one.
What?
And that is what is an unpopular opinion about something in entertainment, whether it be movies, TV, and music or anything artistic in the entertainment industry. So for example, everyone loves Disneyland,
Mhm.
right? Everyone
is
loves the
terrible.
movie. Okay. Everyone loves, I don't know what, Sound of Music.
Sound
Right.
of music is great.
Yeah, okay, good.
Oh, don't you go,
yeah, don't
man.
I
Woo.
mean you would have to because it's not happening, then we don't need to go there. Okay,
Good
so
thank God you didn't
yes,
say that in front
thank
of
you
Golda.
so much.
Excuse me, you know I like Sound of Music.
I know you do. That's why we
That's why you can run the Whole
that's
Foods
why we're
produce department together.
That's why we're fam. Okay,
Okay.
so what is an unpopular opinion about something or someone in entertainment that you have?
I think Thomas is the good one.
Yeah,
What?
let's hear it.
Which one? I have too many.
Not too many. I think that the main one you were talking about is a movie that was very well received that you thought was only meh.
Which one? Wonder Woman?
Yes. Yes.
Oh yeah, Wonder Woman was only okay.
Oh,
And tell us more. Elaborate more
Yeah.
on that.
I mean, I'm looking at it from a point of view of a stunt and fight coordinator.
Oh.
And granted, I can't do the things that they did. Okay.
Okay.
Like, I mean, they got some top-notch performers to do the stunts and to do the choreography. But at the beginning, when the Amazonians are fighting, well, they're fighting each other, and then they're fighting all the dudes who came in off
Yeah.
the boat and everything.
Yeah.
You know, the Nazis. I think it was Nazis,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
yeah,
Or Germans anyway.
Okay.
World War One, was it?
two.
Two. Yeah. Okay. So the Nazis come and they fight these Nazis, whatever. Like their sword technique to me was only all right. Like to
Interesting.
me, it felt like the stunt coordinator choreographed these stunts, and somebody said, "Looks good enough."
Oh, that would be me.
You know.
That would be my
Me too.
equivalent.
I'd be like, that looks amazing. But let's not forget, Thomas is
a trained,
award-winning
award-winning.
stunt coordinator.
Absolutely.
Like
That's
to
the
me,
correct word.
it's like you could have taken okay, so Wonder Woman, this is the first female-centric superhero movie,
Mhm.
right? I mean, it's super important that you get all the little pieces right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's Otherwise, people are going to be like, see, women can't lead a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to make sure that everything's like worked out very well, right? But like, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, the sword fighting for Wonder Woman was only fine, like only good enough.
Okay.
Because I feel like they could have taken it to the level of like the movie 300.
Oh,
You know
I didn't
that movie?
see that movie. They have
That-
good sword fighting
that
in that
movie
movie.
has some epic ass sword fighting in it.
Mm.
And since they're kind of like, I mean, I know they're Amazonians, but they kind of have the same kind of weapons. They
Yeah.
kind of fight in the same style with the big shield and the swords.
Yeah.
You know, the big short swords.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like watching women fight like that. I feel like watching women fight like that would be like super epic.
Yeah.
Like it would be like industry changing. Like this brutal kind of like really violent and fierce.
Yeah.
I mean, they're Amazonians.
Yes,
they're
correct.
supposed to be like that,
Yeah,
right?
True.
Like
fiercest race. Yeah.
they
Mhm.
kick men's asses, right?
Yeah.
So if they were up against the 300, the Amazonians would win
yeah.
in theory,
Yeah.
right? So to me, their fighting should have been as good, if not better, than the movie 300. You
That's
know?
a great. Wow, that's a great analysis.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know that.
I would
Yeah.
not even have thought that because, you're right. When you think of Amazonian women, I would think that they would fight dirty and fight like again, 100%,
Right,
100%
Yeah.
into it and probably very sophisticated, yet a little bit of just kind of rawness about how because they're, they're interpreted as like these barbarian-esque, but
I mean, they're warriors.
Yeah.
That's all they do.
yeah,
Mhm.
they should be really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they call them Amazons, right?
Yeah.
For many,
Yeah.
that's how you think about that.
So besides for the stunt and the fight choreography, was there another issue you had with the movie? What else made it?
Did you not like Wonder Woman, the lady who played Gal Gadot,
No, I like Gal Gadot. I mean,
or Chris Pine? Did you like Chris Pine?
I mean,
I liked him.
I'm not.
Plays Captain Kirk on the new Star Trek.
That's why I don't like Chris Pine. You see,
all right.
because, but I mean, but
So
that,
you carried over
different
your
thing.
dislike from Star Trek into.
I mean, that's
Wonder
a whole different thing.
Okay.
But I just like, I don't know. I mean, the story didn't feel strong. The villain felt really stupid.
Woman. Yeah, the villain was stupid.
Yeah, I mean, like it felt
With
I
their
mean,
Phantom of the Opera mask on. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I
it's-
can't get into you, lady.
It's like Thor: Dark World, right? If you have a shit villain, then the whole thing comes out bad,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, I just thought it could be way better, and it should have been, considering that it was like the first one, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think people, because it was the first one, like really latched onto it and was like, "Oh, it's so great!" But
Yeah. It was very empowering for women, I would say, and for a lot of people who watched it because you're not used to seeing, a very strong female superhero
absolutely,
who's
yeah,
the
I get that.
central. This is what the movie's about. I mean, it's called Wonder Woman, right? And then seeing her with her Amazonian sisters and parents or whatever, fight. So it was almost like I think there was just this surge of pride and just badassedness that it looked visually that empowered a lot of women to see that they could be portrayed like that on screen. And it's like that adage goes like you can only aspire to what you see.
Mhm, mhm.
Right. So, I mean, even though it's not perfect and there are all these plot holes in the Phantom of the Opera lady, I mean, so many bad things. The central aspect of it, I think, was to be able to see a female in such a badass portrayal was something that as a woman you have not seen in the big screen before. And I think that even the way that it was directed too, it was directed by a female. And in all its glory and just in terms of the action and the cinematography and all of that. So I think that I agree with you that, it wasn't a perfect movie. This is not a movie I would watch again and again and again. But I do like what it kind of really punched a hole in this belief that strong women and women in action cannot carry a movie.
Sure.
And that
Absolutely.
aren't
I totally agree
viable
with that.
or profitable. So I think that is one of the areas where I'm like, yeah. But yeah, the other stuff I'm like, meh, it's okay.
I mean, it was also pointed out to me that, I'm a straight male who's like judging this movie and whatever. And it was told to me that maybe I'm seeing it differently than I see other movies, but I'm saying like Superman versus Batman was a piece of shit.
Oh, it sure was.
See, the thing about Thomas
Right.
is
It
he's
sure was.
honest, and he has no. It's so weird. He has no prejudice against
Yeah.
what he considers to be good cinema or
Yeah,
bad cinema.
regardless.
regardless of who made it. He's
Yes.
not gonna give you a pass whether you're a
Yeah.
woman or a minority or whatever. But that being
Yeah.
said, when his praise is given, it is also without prejudice. Would you say that's true?
Sure.
Sure.
Yes.
You had another one.
And Gal Gadot was badass. I mean, she's military trained. She
Yeah.
used to train people for the military. I mean, fucking Gal Gadot. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like a really great stunt coordinator could have like took her
Yeah.
skills and
I
like
hear
really
you.
like jacked that
I
up.
hear you.
know?
And I think too, because you have such a high bar of excellence, and not only because you expect it, but you do it, that definitely informs, how you what the opinion you have of this movie. So if I could switch gears real quick.
yeah.
Because I know this is a good one. What did you think about that one actor though that everybody loves? I heard you in passing say something about that. Seemed to be an unpopular opinion.
Which one? Meryl Streep?
Let's hear it.
I feel like you're picking on me.
No,
no,
man.
this is good. This is what we
It's
brought
good.
you on
It's
for.
about unpopular opinions.
And we're gonna make you as unpopular as possible. No, go ahead.
I don't think there's any way you can make me more unpopular.
Did you say that was your brand?
That's my brand.
Tell
Yeah, what's
tell
your
the
brand?
audience what your brand
What's
is.
your brand, Thomas?
My brand
Yeah.
is being that guy that people don't like.
Well, here's the thing. I've heard Thomas through the years say that he is this, because he's so honest and all these types of things, that he rubs people the wrong way, etc. And, take it for what it's worth. But my opinion and my observation of Thomas is, what I see is, I appreciate the honesty and I appreciate the authenticity. If you want the truth and you don't want bullshit, you ask Thomas. If you want to be stroked and you want to keep that, pink rose-colored glasses, just don't talk to him. And he's fine with it.
That's true.
It's okay.
And he's fine with it.
Just go eat some cheese. Just go to the cheese
go
table.
to Disneyland
Cheese
and
is delicious.
enjoy, and everything will be fine.
Disneyland is terrible.
But I feel like, Thomas is definitely someone who will always be honest with you.
Yeah.
And has a ton of integrity. And I admire that. And I think
Thank you.
a lot of people do too. So he's saying all this stuff like people don't like him. Let me tell you, he's got a fan club for sure.
It's a small fan club.
No, it's not. He's being modest. Anyway.
All right, so tell us about why you don't
tell
like
us about
Meryl Streep.
Yeah, why
Okay,
do
go
you?
on.
Why
No,
do you hate
I
Meryl
don't.
Streep?
I don't not like Meryl
let's
Streep.
light
Meryl
the
Streep's
fire.
fine. I like Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep's cool. I just think that she gets too much. She gets too much hype. Like Meryl Streep is fine. She's a great actor. But I don't think she's as great as everybody feels like she is. And Leonardo DiCaprio. Like
What?
I think
Oh,
I think he's
now.
fine.
I was gonna give you the pass on Meryl Streep.
I think
I
Leo's.
love me
I think
some Leo. You don't like Leonardo DiCaprio?
It's not that I don't like him. I think he's fine. I just
Oh,
don't think
okay.
he's as good as everybody says he is.
All right.
That's
interesting.
I'm gonna back you up on the Meryl Streep thing. Although I do worship the ground she walks on. Like
Yeah,
if she blew
for
her
sure.
nose into a tissue and then she threw it on the ground, I'd probably go try to pick it up.
And then you would open it.
I'm not gonna.
You would open it and look
I'm not gonna go
through
into-
your telescope. Oh, not telescope. You're a scientist.
Microscope.
Yes, pyramids.
What I do with that tissue?
Not
I
good
do
with the vernacular.
on my own personal time, Golda.
Yeah.
Okay. But my point
Yeah.
is, I worship her as an actress, but
Okay.
I kind of back up Thomas a little bit. I have a little refining point on it, which
Okay.
is I saw season 2 of Big Little Lies.
Okay.
I mean, I enjoyed it immensely, but
But
for once, the first time in my life, I was like, oh man, Meryl Streep. I have to pick my words really carefully here. How
because
should
we
I
will
say
erase
it?
this episode if any of us ever gets a chance to work with Meryl Streep.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we never had this conversation.
Never. But I think she was hamming it up and she was overdoing it. It's
Interesting.
almost like because it's Meryl Streep, they were so hands off with her. At a certain point, they don't shape the
They
director.
don't direct her.
The director doesn't shape
Yeah.
the performance, which does not behoove the story, right? Because as a director or a storyteller or writer, it has to be in service of the story. It can't be this whole thing where you're like masturbating on film, like, look at what I can do.
Wow.
Did I say that? Self-masturbatory? Oops.
Yeah, no, I
that's
get you.
That's a bit much. Oh, I feel bad I said
And delete. and
that. And burn
notes.
Don't feel bad about being speaking your truth.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Burn the hard drive, Gertie. Okay. So my point is that it was a bit much. And as a director, you should be like, you're
Yeah.
actually detracting from the script because I think we're trying to tell a story. We're trying to have a moment here. And the moment is about your acting all of a sudden.
Do you think she could be able to take like directing notes? Like if we were in, what's the scene that you didn't like
I
from
mean, that's
her?
a good question.
Okay,
you got a TV
let's-
director, and
can
he's
I
like,
just-
Meryl Streep, can you pull it in just a little bit?
Yeah, I know. Can you
And then
rate-
she'd be like, your career has just been destroyed with that note.
Wow, that's like the voice of Satan would just come out of her body at that moment. But yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Okay, do you want me to describe the scene?
Yeah, I want to hear it. What scene are you talking about that she did so horribly? Per Wanru. And only Wanru.
I've never seen Big Little Lies.
Okay, so there's one scene where she's engaging with Reese Witherspoon, and her character is criticizing Reese Witherspoon, and Meryl Streep was saying, well, because I believe in God, I'm paraphrasing here, I believe in God and I'm a holy person. That's why I live my life the way I do. And people with lesser morals live the life the way they do, indicating Reese Witherspoon. So there's something in acting called indicating. Like when you say, what time is it? And then you point at your watch. That's called indicating in acting, right?
So let's do a quick scene of that where I'll play Reese Witherspoon and you be Meryl Streep.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, man.
And then Thomas, you jump in with whatever character that you see fit, if at all.
I'll be the director.
How about this? Describe the action as it's happening, because for those who are listening to the podcast,
Yeah, that are
okay?
watching the video.
All right, so I'm Meryl Streep.
And I'm Reese Witherspoon.
Okay, and then we're gonna have we're gonna say
I've never seen the show, by the way.
just make it up. I'm just
All
gonna
right.
be critical and religious, and you're gonna be offended.
And
Meryl
what's your
gestures
character's
at
name?
Reese Witherspoon with her hands.
Say that again. What was that?
He's directing or describing for those audio folks.
Okay, and to let us know when to say action. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm Reese Witherspoon. I'm
Meryl Streep.
gonna be in character.
And prepare. Action.
Well, if that's the way you choose to live your life, then I suppose that's okay.
Well, I too want to live my life the way God has intended. Why do you have to laugh at me like that? I am a human being. Again, to use your reasoning, I'm a human being made of God's flesh.
Well, some of us holding up,
She points to herself
holding
and
up
holds up a
cross.
cross
Some of us
hanging around her neck.
are holier than others.
And she bites it. Bite.
And
Puts it in
see,
her mouth. See.
she put the cross she took
In her mouth.
in her mouth.
Isn't that blasphemous?
In the scene, she's talking
Why
to
would
Reese
she do that?
Witherspoon, and she talks about how holy she is, and she
Mhm.
lifts up her necklace and she puts it in her mouth.
Interesting.
Now, I'm
Huh.
not going to question the genius of Meryl Streep, but as a director, I don't know. Is that necessary?
So, director, what would you do?
What would you do, Thomas?
Yeah, after you've yelled cut, and now you have to
Shoot that
rejigger us.
scene. Yeah.
Rejigger us. What would you advise Meryl Streep?
I think you're asking the wrong person.
What?
Meryl.
That's
Meryl,
you.
Can you? Meryl,
Yes.
Meryl, can you?
I thought that was perfect. No more takes, right?
Meryl,
That's it. We're
please,
done. Can I go to my
Meryl,
trailer?
Meryl, can you? So just pull it back just a little bit. Just pull it back.
Dare you! Oh, dare you! Oh, God!
Would you like a kale smoothie? I've got one in my trailer.
Frank, can you get the Meryl emergency packet, please?
Break the glass.
Here it is, boss.
Yes, but it's tricky, right? It's
Here's some green
tricky.
peanut M&Ms.
But let me say this. Meryl Streep is a genius. Just like, let's go back to Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot, physically capable of doing amazing action
Are you
scenes.
saying she's a bad actor?
No. I'm saying Meryl Streep has the most amazing raw material of any woman. I will say this.
Yes.
I will put this on record. Most amazing raw talent of any American actress living.
I respectfully disagree.
Oh!
Unpopular opinion. This is where we're going down the Inception rabbit hole.
There you go.
Because let me tell you.
Inception
Okay, wait, let me
sucks.
just finish this thing. So, because Gal Gadot didn't have the training, right, to like lift her up to that next level,
Yeah.
right? Because she didn't have the right fight training.
Gal Gadot is trained as a soldier and a model.
Right.
I think she has had some actor training, but definitely not as much experience as
Right.
Meryl Streep.
But
For sure.
with the right with the right trainer, she could have lifted that physicality to the next level. And Meryl Streep with the right direction, I know that she would have just killed it. It would have been that much better.
You know
this
what?
is my theory. My theory.
That's interesting because do you remember a movie a couple of years ago called Doubt?
Yes.
Meryl Streep was in it. The
Mm-hmm.
great Philip Seymour Hoffman was in it. Amy Adams was in it. It was just the three of them. I had the privilege of seeing Doubt on Broadway with the wonderful Tony Award winning actor Cherry Jones. You guys know who Cherry Jones is?
I don't.
Cherry Jones is your favorite, right?
She's a fucking badass. Okay.
She played what's his face's mom in
Ocean's
Yeah.
11. Yeah, one of the Ocean's movie. Cherry Jones played the Mother Superior role that Meryl Streep played in the movie version of Doubt. And I, myself and a good friend of ours, Rodney Toe, who's a phenomenal actor as well, on this was like, when this was on Broadway, this was the ticket that no one can get. This was the experience that you had to buy it a year ahead of time just to get the back, like, nosebleed seats. Me and Rodney were walking in New York, the theater district there, 7:45 p.m. when most shows start at 8 o'clock. We passed by the theater that Doubt is playing at. And I said, "Hey, Rodney, can we go to the ticket booth and just see? Let's just see if we can get a ticket to Doubt." And he's like, "Golda, you're crazy. This is the sellout show. Nobody can see this show." And I'm like, "Let's just see." We go to the ticket box office. As it so happens, 2 seats
Wow.
left in the entire theater. And they are literally the very last row in the entire theater next to the exit. So it's not very good seats, but they were very expensive. And I'm like, my treat. I just want to see this show. And Cherry Jones, and there were only 3 people in this entire theater show. Cherry Jones was so powerful that as far away that I was from her, from the stage, I felt it. Kind of like what you were saying about the
the story
experience.
we're telling. Yeah.
Earlier. Yeah. So she was phenomenal, and it hit me like it was so powerful. And it was so powerful that after the show was over, myself and my friend Rodney, who I'd seen it with, were on the subway, and he is usually the most talkative person you can ever meet. He was quiet the entire 15-minute subway ride home. And finally, when we were about to disembark from the subway, the only thing that he said was, "Fucking Cherry Jones." So when the movie version of Doubt came out, I thought Cherry Jones was going to be in it. And then they hired Meryl Streep, right? Went to go see Doubt. She did an admirable job, but nowhere near Cherry
Jones level.
But do you think it could be
Nowhere
because
near.
it's a film versus like the theater where you're like right there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and plus she's got the draw, right? Meryl Streep's got more of the appeal
Yeah.
and the popularity.
And it'd be hard to say how Cherry Jones would do on film versus how
Yeah.
Meryl Streep would do on Broadway. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's 2
Right.
different mediums.
Right.
So
Yeah.
maybe in the medium
Totally.
of Broadway or in theater, Cherry Jones would take
Yeah.
the stage, but Meryl Streep would be too diminutive.
Yeah.
And maybe vice versa.
Yeah, totally. But I think that, when you see the exact same role,
Mhm.
and to see the nuances that Cherry Jones was able to portray in the subtlety and the pure craftsmanship that she understood this character. She knew every breath, every move, every intonation, everything. She got it. She breathed and lived this character and this script and this story. I didn't get that from Meryl Streep in the movie version. So, I mean, in terms of just artistry alone, I was comparing them, and
Totally.
you know, and I think that, you know, but on the other hand, Devil Wears Prada loved me some Meryl Streep. Love me some Meryl Streep.
Either way, I would still pick up her Kleenex, and you would pick up the Kleenex of Cherry Jones, right?
Yes, and I would smell it. That's how much I love Cherry Jones.
That's a very unpopular opinion shared by Golda. All right. What about you? Do you want to?
No, I don't have any other ones.
Oh, okay. All right.
I want to move on to the next topic or category.
All right. I'm going to throw that to you then.
Okay.
How about that? You can start first.
Yeah. So my question is, who do you think doesn't get enough credit in Hollywood that you would like to see more of?
Why don't you start? Because you,
Me?
Yeah, you start.
Okay. So, somebody that I really, really admire, and I've admired her from afar, but is an actor in the Asian American community and now globally. She's an actor by the name of Jae Suh Park. She is a phenomenal theater actor and a film actor as well. She was most recently in a show on Netflix called Best Friends from College or Friends from College.
Love that series.
She's phenomenal. She's just phenomenal. I just want to see more of her.
By the way, they did 2 seasons of Friends from College?
Yeah, what happened?
And then cliffhanger, and then I was dying to see what happened, and they
Canceled
it.
And she was my favorite character in the entire show. She is just brilliant, and you know, she's got such depth and scope, and I just want to see more. And I feel like she does not given enough credit.
Oh, that's so nice.
I love her, Jae Suh Park.
Yeah. Jay needs more opportunity.
Yeah, and Thomas, you know her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See? And you agree, right?
I don't think she remembers me, but I remember everybody.
Honestly, Thomas says that Jae Suh Park doesn't remember. I think she does. Let's ask her. I don't know her number. Yeah. I don't know how to reach her.
So that's your endorsement.
I love her. Yeah.
And what about you, Thomas?
Yeah.
You go first.
Oh, me? Oh my God. I'm going to keep going on and on about this. But okay. So my actor is Adam Scott.
Who's that?
Exactly. Who is that?
Who is Adam Scott?
He is a white guy with 2 first names, and it's very confusing.
Wasn't that Batman's alias?
Adam Scott?
No, that was Adam West, the actual actor. Totally different. This is why I'm not in the CIA. I don't remember details.
Oh, gotcha. Well,
who is this Adam Scott guy?
I was as confused as you, but I just would see him in random roles. I mean, I guess he's best known for Parks and Rec for being Amy Poehler's husband or boyfriend in that show.
Husband.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, it's been like 50 years, so shut up about it.
But I didn't watch Parks and Rec. I just saw him.
It's great.
I just saw him in a movie called Friends with Kids, where he just played the normal white guy in that. That's his bread and butter, the normal white guy. And most recently, I saw him in season 2 of Big Little Lies.
Oh, yeah.
And where I'm poo-pooing Meryl Streep, I'm now going to applaud Adam Scott. And that show is kind of like a realistic soap opera, so you must understand the tone of the show. I mean, that's why I think Meryl Streep struggled, is that she just didn't understand the tone of the show, right? So you have to kind of blend in a little bit. And his strength is he's like the most generic person, but his acting is so authentic that it makes him, boy, what a backhanded compliment. It makes a very unmemorable person memorable.
Oh, interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So he's nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
But when you see him in action, he's actually good.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, he's just a regular white guy. How do you make that special? But yet somehow he does.
They do it all the time. In everything.
In every movie. But that's why we're getting all the Chris's mixed up, right? Like Chris Pine, because there's so many generic white guys, they don't do anything special. But I think Adam does something very unique. And he's such a strong actor. Okay. In one scene, here I am again going on. He is in a scene with Reese Witherspoon and he's so angry at her in the scene, and he crosses his arms and he lifts up his hands to just kind of indicate, kind of open palmed, and his hand begins to shake. And it's like an uncontrollable movement. But that's how into the moment he is. And I was like, oh shit, look at that. And Meryl Streep is like biting her cross. You know, like it's like you can see like one is very deliberate and one is undeliberate. Like you can't control it because your hand's shaking because you're mad, right? And the other one's like, let me show you how holy I am. I'm going to bite my cross.
She did that, now that I think about it, in Bridges of Madison County.
What did she do?
I think she was biting her necklace. It was the scene where she's taking a bath in preparation for some lovemaking with Clint Eastwood. I believe. Either that or when they were in the kitchen and she's all like, it's hot. Would you like some muffins? Biting on her necklace. And he's like, oh, I love you. Anyway, sorry. Segue.
Anyway, so that is my endorsement of someone who's not that popular. And I wish he was more. Adam Scott.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah. What about you, Thomas?
I mean, are we talking about somebody who's not that popular who should be popular? Or are we talking about just in general somebody who doesn't get enough credit? But I mean because that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not popular, right?
Yeah, I think it's for someone who doesn't get enough credit is what I would say for how good they are. Yeah.
Then, I mean, if we're going down that road, then I would say, like I was mentioning to you guys before, I think I would have to stick with Gere Watanabe.
Gere Watanabe.
Yeah.
And for those at home, who is Gere Watanabe? Can you describe his career a little bit?
Sure. Gere Watanabe is an Asian American actor, Japanese American, who was very popular in the 80s, was in all of those shows like Gung Ho and those types of things.
And 16 Candles too,
16
right?
Candles, yeah, he played Long Duck Dong.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people have shed on him and said that because he did those ching-chongy roles, that Asians have been set back in the industry 10 some odd years.
Okay.
I can see that perspective. On the other hand, if he didn't do it, somebody else would have done it. Probably Brian Tochi, who was also doing those roles in Police Academy and in Revenge of the Nerds. I mean, like, that's how it was for us in the 80s. And if he didn't do it, somebody else would have done it. And, you know, since then, Gere has been in the community, not just the Asian acting community, but the LGBT QA plus community. And he's been like, you know, talking people up and trying to help out and trying to elevate the status of not just Asian American actors, but people in the LGBTQA plus community. You know, I mean, he does a lot of community stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he works really hard to elevate people in his community. And I feel like even though in the 80s, he took these roles and, you know, they were kind of ching-chongy. They were like, you know, Breakfast at Tiffany's ching-chongy kind of roles. I mean, you can't hate on him for taking the role. Somebody else is going to take the role. It's just how it was, you know? And like, if it wasn't him, then we'd be saying, friggin' Brian Tochi set us back 10 years, that son of a bitch. But because Brian Tochi was in Revenge of the Nerds and Police Academy, which weren't as popular as 16 Candles and, you know, Gung Ho, everybody forgot about him. I love Brian Tochi. He was one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know, in the rubber suits.
I never watched that movie.
How dare you?
Unpopular opinion.
I mean, I love them all. And like, if they didn't do it, somebody else would have done it.
Yeah.
You know? So like, at least Gere has been out there, like using his fame and notoriety to help elevate the community. And not only one community either, several different kinds of communities, right? And he's still doing it. And like, I feel like he needs lots of props for that. You know, I don't think people give him enough props.
100%. I am a fan of Gere as well. He's a wonderful person and a really very, very skilled actor. And I would have loved to see him do so much more following, you know, those 80s movies, right? Like, I think that, you know, man, it's like I would love to see him in other roles for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say the only regret regarding Gere is that those roles, which are painful for the Asian American community to watch, are his defining roles. And if that was part of his, how would you say, if they were part of his canon and he had so many more roles after that, it would have been like you can see the steps. Like you can see like he took this role and then this role and then it progressed and it changed and whatever. And not that he isn't still performing, he still does. But, if he was as actively in movie and films today as he was back then, I think that would have helped sort of soften the what do you think? Soften the impact of those roles?
I mean, yes, but also, have you watched those movies recently?
I haven't, no.
I saw 16 Candles the other day.
I mean, Long Duck Dong is
He's
a
really
Ching Chongy
good.
role, but he's super good at it.
He's really good.
And as a character, Long Duck Dong is very successful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like he hooks up with a girl, he has a good time, he parties, like he's popular, right? It's not like
He lives
like
by his own rules.
that Ching Chongy nerd who everybody ostracizes, right? Like he's popular. He's Ching Chongy as a role.
Yeah.
But as a character, like he's successful.
I got you.
Right? In Gung Ho, yes, he played a Ching Chongy role. But if you really watch Gung Ho, it's really about how stupid Americans are. And like the Japanese, they're kind of uptight. But the only lesson the Japanese need to learn is to be less uptight.
I 100% agree with you because as I was refreshed with my 16 Candles trivia, I watched it like sparingly the other day. I was watching scenes here and there, but I definitely watched it whenever Getty was on. He is very, very, very talented.
Yeah,
I mean,
very talented.
Unfortunately, the package with which his character was a very stereotypical role. But if you were to take a closer look at what he did with that role, he did a lot comedically, timing wise, character wise. He didn't just, I think that if you look at it as a pure cartoon character, it's not. It's a lot more layered if you revisit it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And to your point, Thomas, about how it's not really a reflection of him. It's actually a reflection of how naive and stupid the grandparents were that were sort of his sponsors as he was like this international student. They were the uptight ones. They were the weirdos. Yeah. He was I came away with it as I remember as a teenager watching this movie. I didn't consider him a negative character. I loved him. I absolutely loved him. And what I loved about him was that he was actually kind of like the you root for him. The underdog. He was like this underdog character, but it was in this very stereotypical Ching Chongy, to use your terminology or America's or universe's terminology. It was in that package, but if you were to look at his character, it was actually a very strong character. Very different from Breakfast at Tiffany's Mickey Rooney playing an Asian, right? That is very offensive and that is shameful if I were Mickey Rooney. But if I were Getty and I was looking at 16 Candles, you are now indelibly in the fabric of pop culture and in many people's childhoods. And at least for me specifically, and we're all different, but I thought he was brilliant. And he's probably one of the most memorable characters in that entire movie. And I think it's because of his skill and how funny he was. So for me, I didn't look at it as a negative. I actually looked at his performance and his character as, I admired him.
And if you know Getty, you know how charming and energetic and how much good positive energy he has. Yeah. And that's why he's been able to infuse that humanity in every role that he does. Yeah. You like you said, that's why you root for him. So
and I think too that back in the day in the 80s, I mean, we're still, and by we I mean the diverse population of actors are still struggling for representation in entertainment. And it's hard now in 2019. I can only imagine what it was in 1986 or 1989 when these movies came out. So as much as, as much traction as he had with those movies, I'm sure it was very challenging to get subsequent roles. So it makes me happy to know that he's still performing and he's still involved in the community because he can still give of himself and his talent. Yeah, I like that.
Great choice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, this has been I feel invigorated. I feel like
Thomas feels drained.
I mean, it always feels good to be able to speak your truth
In a bullseye
and not
fashion.
have anybody judge you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't
Exactly.
think we were judging you?
Oh, you can judge me.
What's that?
You can judge me.
No,
Everybody
but
does.
you don't think we were, right?
I mean, no.
Yeah.
Silently inside. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. But we have one little more segment after this.
Yeah.
Which we will be excited to share.
Yeah. We've come to one of my favorite parts of our program called Girl, You Got To.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And since we have our wonderful guest, Thomas Isao Morinaka.
Isao.
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 Isao. We are going to ask Thomas to do the honors of sharing with us his Girl You Got To. And just as a reminder, Girl You Got To is where we partake and share some best practices, things that we think that would help the good people out there to even just think about. Think about it first, and then if you want to implement it, then great. So, Thomas, what is your Girl You Got To?
My Girl You Got To is girl.
I love his very like melodic take on it.
Girl.
Well, he's very good at karaoke by and by. Anyway,
I do
sorry.
sing.
He does. What is your
Girl, you got to. Okay, my Girl You Got To is girl. You got to go to therapy.
Woo!
So again, it's Girl You Got To Go to Therapy?
Yeah.
Tell me
You
more.
got to go to therapy. I mean, everybody should go to therapy.
Okay.
Everybody needs to do some self work and look into themselves so that they can have their target of, I'm sorry, what was it?
Bullseye of honesty.
Bullseye of
TM.
honesty. You can't have a bullseye of honesty and be honest with yourself if you don't do some self work. And the beginning of that often is to go to a therapist. Ideally, you want to continue going to one and like for the rest of your life if you can afford it. And, you know, just keep working on yourself. I mean, working on yourself is a continual thing. Yes.
Mhm.
If you can't afford it or you don't have the time, you can just sort of get started with going to the therapist and like identify some issues or whatever. And then maybe read some books or like do some audiobooks or do some workshops or like some group things or whatever. And just like keep working on yourself and thinking about why you do things the way you do, what some other traumas maybe you're suffering from, and like just kind of work stuff out. Because if you don't keep growing, then what are you doing?
Girl, what
Seriously.
are you doing?
Girl, I don't know. So, Thomas, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, since you are recommending that, you know, folks go to therapy, is it because you have been a product of good therapy or therapy?
Yes. I
Okay.
mean, okay. So when I was younger, I was forced to go to therapy
Okay.
for numerous reasons.
Okay.
And I jumped from one shrink to another shrink, psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, this guy, that guy. Somebody wants to give me drugs. Somebody wants to take me off drugs. And like, it was just too much. And I wasn't having it because I didn't really want to go. So they're like, okay, so Thomas, we have you for a 15-minute hour. So can you tell me what you did today? And I would just sit there for an hour and not say shit
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to be there, you know? But later on in life, like a couple years ago, I was like, man, I gotta go see a therapist because I'm about ready to rip somebody's head off. And I just gotta figure some shit out.
Yeah.
You know, so I did a search for a therapist and I found one in like Lower Beverly Hills, just across from the Beverly Center. And we talked for about a year and a half. And then I had to stop going because I had to work and I was running out of money. But you know, doing that work with her was able to set me on this path of self-development and self-reflection. And I was able to identify some patterns and break those patterns because, you know, I'm all about breaking my destructive patterns. And, you know, she gave me some recommendations on some books, and I read those books. And from those books, they took me to other books, and then I listened to you guys, and I read those books, like the 5 love languages books, and that book Quiet is in my queue,
Great.
and all of these other things, and it's just like books, and then like sometimes it doesn't work for you, like that book was recommended to me, that one actor who was in Arthur.
Dudley Moore?
No, the Arthur remake. The Arthur remake.
Isn't he dead?
What's his name? I can't remember.
Arthur remake.
The guy who was married to I think he was married to shoot, I can't remember. Anyway, he wrote a book about like 12-step program or something like that. Oh, it's coming to me. Oh no, I lost it. Anyway,
we will put it in the show notes.
Yes.
yeah. And he wrote a book about like a 12-step program and a development off of that, and that was not working for me, and I chucked it after like listening to the first 2 or 3 chapters. But then stuff like the 5 love languages came in very handy. I was able to identify my my patterns and what my love languages are.
By the way, what are your love languages? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, can't you guess?
Acts of service, number
Yep.
1. Oh, nailed it.
I thought it was acts or words of affirmation.
It's equal to acts of service.
Oh, those are your top 2?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Oh, girl, you called it.
Girl.
And then I called
Yeah.
it.
But the most valuable thing I learned from the 5 love languages is to try and learn to speak your partner's love language.
Mm-hmm.
Like knowing what my love languages are is obvious, but the lesson that I took away from the book is to learn how to speak your partner's love language.
Mm-hmm. Don't talk about my cellulite in a harsh way, please.
What's your
my love language.
What's your love language? What was your love language?
Forgot already.
I think
Quality
it was
time, something like that.
I think it is quality time. It is quality
It's
time.
called "Don't Talk About My Cellulite" in an unflattering way. Just pretend I don't have any.
I mean, I know gift giving came in very low on both of you guys'
Yeah.
scores, but
How about
like,
yours?
I mean, see, here's the thing about gift giving, right? Like, gift giving to me falls into acts of service,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's all about like, I was thinking of you and I saw this thing that I know you'll like, even if it costs like $1.50, I'm like, oh, Wanru likes this like little kitty, so I'll get her this keychain.
Yeah.
I mean, that is gift giving, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Honey, I got you this
Yeah.
cellulite cream because I know you're concerned about the increasing amount of cellulite in the back of your thighs.
Because I know you don't like going to the gym,
But I
which
feel
I
like,
was going to recommend.
but I feel like that those 2 love languages work together.
Yeah.
So if someone's love language is gift giving, then I feel like as someone who values acts of service,
Yeah. It
I
makes
can
sense.
easily get in with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
And you would never have learned that without therapy, working on yourself, and also reading the books.
Well, I would have never learned that particular thing without that particular book. See, I mean, each book
It's all connected.
or each thing that I worked on in therapy, each book, I mean, they all address different things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cumulative, right? It like piles one on top of the other, and it just sort of works together to make you a better person.
Wonderful.
That's a great girl you got too.
You see, we're all about. Yeah, I would have to agree. Now, Thomas, let me ask you this: for those out there who might not have the resources to go to a therapist, would you say that a close second would be like talking to your friends, or
It depends on which
family?
friend.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Mhm.
for real is it depends on which friend.
or like
Yeah.
a counselor? Like maybe the public works. No, that's like water.
I mean,
Department of Power. But like don't they have like state run like counselors or something like that?
I mean, there are resources. You
Yeah.
can find you can find things.
Yeah.
I would talk to a friend, but only a friend that I know
Yeah.
can give valuable feedback.
Yeah.
Like someone who has been in therapy for a long time would be a good person to talk to,
Interesting.
Mhm.
because they've done it. Like
Yeah.
they've done the work.
Yeah.
So maybe they can suggest some things. And
Yeah.
if not, then maybe they can suggest where you can find the resources that you need.
Yeah.
Right. But you can't put all your eggs in one basket. You can't go to the one therapist and be like, this person is going to heal me. Because it just, I mean.
It's a process, isn't it?
Yeah. Like most of the work is self-done. They're just guiding you, right?
Absolutely.
So in that sense, sometimes only books can do it. I mean, it just depends on the person, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever you respond to and however you take yourself on that journey.
Yeah, and I think you actually I like that you brought up books and being able to work on some of this on your own too, if that speaks to you. So if there are books that you recommend, we will put it on the show notes. But off the top of your head, what are some of the books that have spoken to you that you found helpful?
This author Lane Moore wrote a book called How to Be Alone Even If You Don't Want to Be, or something like that. It's not necessarily a self-help book. It's more about her telling her story about her trauma and like how she's dealing with it and stuff like that. But it's very, I mean, it was enlightening in some sense because it makes you feel like that you're not alone in your bullshit, right? Like, and then there's another book that was extremely valuable to me, which was called How Not to Give a Fuck.
Oh yeah, I have that book
by Mark Manson. Mark Manson.
I don't remember.
The subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Yes, that's the one. Yes.
Yeah.
Very valuable to me because I give too many fucks.
Interesting. It's good that you have that awareness to even know that book could help you.
Yeah, right.
By picking it up in the first place. So we'll put those books and links to those books where you can get them on the show notes, and any other books that you would recommend that have helped you personally. Yeah.
Sure.
But thanks so much. That was an amazing.
I love that girl you got to.
Amazing
girl,
you got to. Well, I'm glad I could help.
You know, sometimes you go to the bargain bin of a department store or of a Ralph's or of a, pharmacy, and you see
bargain bin at a pharmacy.
Yeah, the discount aisle.
Oh, I thought like bargain prescriptions. Probably not a good idea.
I want some bargain prescriptions.
Yeah, like
I don't
expired Vicodin. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Or itch cream or birth control pills. You don't want that.
You don't want to use birth control pills or condoms or things like that. Yeah. But you go to the bargain bin and you look through it. Usually it's a bunch of trash because nobody wants it. But then sometimes you find something that's unpopular and you're like, this is a treasure. Nobody knows about this particular thing. Like Marcona almonds from Spain are delicious. And one time, someone was just like dumping it on the table at work because it was unwanted. It was unpopular, and nobody understood how delicious these delicious, rich, unskinned almonds are. Right?
Yeah, it's like when you go to a yard sale and you pick up a painting that you think you just jive with.
Yes,
and then come to find out at that PBS show, what's that show?
Antique Roadshow,
that it's worth millions of dollars. But you didn't know that.
Yeah.
You liked it because you liked it.
And everybody was poo-pooing your Velvet Elvis.
Yeah. What do they know?
$12,000.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like what Americans think about Rowan Atkinson.
Mr. Bean?
Mr.
Bean.
I love Mr. Bean.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Genius.
Brilliant.
Mr. Bean's Holiday is one of my favorite movies.
So I hope you found some treasures among the unpopular opinions we shared today. So if we're going to look back on this episode, what do you think you'll take away with you today? And I'll start with Thomas.
Joe, man, why you? I'm not prepared for this. I'm going to take away that you're a llama and that Golda's a giraffe.
That's a good takeaway. I'm a llama.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a giraffe.
And she could take a sturdy fall.
Yes.
She's sturdy and could take
after
a fall.
430 days.
And like sweaters, neck sweaters.
The turtleneck sweaters. Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
And then that Thomas is a whale and finds the act of eating disgusting.
Right. And he likes to swim or be with water.
Well, that's true. That is true.
Okay, how about you, Golda? What will you take away?
Well, I'm going to bring it down to a serious note here. And what I'm going to take away is actually just an overarching takeaway. And that is a deeply heartfelt appreciation for someone like Thomas. And what I admire in Thomas and in many individuals usually is integrity, which he is in droves, as well as just being completely honest and authentic. And I think that that is something to aspire to. And I would love to see more of that in other individuals and in myself. So I would say that was my takeaway.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
How do you feel about that, Thomas?
Can I change my answer?
Yeah. You still going to take away that I want to be a giraffe?
Yeah, yours still
A
sounds
little uneven. You know what my love language is?
Words
of
affirmation. well,
Well.
my takeaway.
Huh? Well, okay.
Oh, wait.
Well, wait.
Wait.
My
Oh, yeah.
takeaway is that I'm gonna start paying more attention to the instructions for the IKEA furniture, because there is value in taking care of the details so that later the thing takes care of itself. You know, this is a very divisive podcast, but on the side, in the case of the shelf, the Poang chair or the Ikik-uk shelf, I am gonna side with Thomas in this case.
For
the
now.
dancing
For now.
queen. The
For
dancing
now.
queen chair. Get it?
What?
Swedish.
Dancing Queen.
ABBA. Anyway, too many connections.
Anyway, so if you enjoyed this controversial episode and had some controversial opinions yourself, please reach out to us. You can find us on YouTube, we are on Facebook, and we are on iTunes and all podcast providers out there.
Yes, absolutely. And if you share us with your family and friends or strangers on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or whoever will listen to you, we would really appreciate that. And if you haven't done so already, would love to hear from you as far as any notes or any feedback or any reviews. We're all about that. So thank you in advance.
And so we're going to say goodbye here and thank our guest, Thomas.
Yeah. And
Thank
if
you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Did you enjoy your time here?
Yes, definitely. Always enjoy hanging out with y'all.
High praise for Mr. Morinaka. All right. Well, in the meantime, we'll see you next time. I'm Golda.
I'm Wanru.
And I'm Thomas.
And this has been the
Ganru Mas Show.